We begin by praising Allah Azza wa Jal, Lord of the Alameen, which is mankind, jinn and everything that exists. And we bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his slave and his messenger. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Qur'an, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who believe, fear Allah, the fear that He deserves, and die not except in a state of absolute submission to Allah Azza wa Jal. That's Islam. Absolute submission to Allah. My dear brothers in Islam, subhanallah, a lot of the times we hear a talk, we hear a saying, we hear a speech, a khutbah, sometimes an ayah, and subhanallah, inside we're probably moved and want to do something about it. We're moved and we want to do something about it. Today, tomorrow, the day after, inshallah, eventually, nothing happens. Then Allah Azza wa Jal, through His infinite mercy, later on, a week down the track, a month down the track, a year down the track, He sends us another reminder. And again, you know what? I remember that same reminder a year ago. I wanted to change, I wanted to do something about it. And then again, a day, a week, a month, a year later, still nothing. And everyone has their fair share of reminders. I can guarantee you that. Allah Azza wa Jal gives everyone his fair share of reminders. SubhanAllah, this person's characteristic is very stubborn. He might have to send him more reminders, but he'll get his fair share to be the same and as just as with a person who immediately understands, immediately takes hold of the message, or knows he has to apply it. Everyone has their fair share of chances. One day Allah Azza wa Jal is going to say enough. One day Allah Azza wa Jal is going to say enough. No more reminders. He's had his fair share. Both Muslims and non-Muslims. The question is why? Before we go into why, let's go back a little bit. SubhanAllah, what does Allah Azza wa Jal call that person in the Qur'an? The person who hears something, who knows it's correct, who wants to apply it, who knows he has to apply it but does nothing. Allah Azza wa Jal in Surah Al-Jumu'ah, since we're here, Salat Al-Jumu'ah, He says, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِّلُوا التَّوْرَاةَ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا. The example of the people of the Yahud who used to hold the Tawrat, they used to have the Tawrat in their hands. The book of Allah, the guidance. They knew it was the truth, but they didn't apply it. Allah Azza wa Jal describes them like a donkey holding a whole library of books. No matter how many books a donkey holds, does it ever change anything in intelligence? Does it ever make him any smarter, any better, any stronger, any wiser? And my dear brothers in Islam, when we hear something, when we know what's right and wrong, and we don't apply it, I guarantee you it doesn't make us donkeys. Because the donkey, he doesn't get questioned on the Day of Judgment for that which he was holding. But me and you, Allah Azza wa Jalla say, you knew and you still didn't apply. You knew and you still didn't stay away from it. The donkey has no hisab. Me and you are going to stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Me and you are going to be questioned. Me and you are going to be asked, what didn't I send you enough warnings? Didn't I send you enough ayat, enough signs? My dear brothers in Islam, SubhanAllah, that same surah towards the end, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, قُلْ إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ. Say, Muhammad, that death that you are running away from, tell the people, the death that you are running away from, it doesn't chase you, it's waiting for you. You're going to go and you're going to come, you're going to get married and you're going to have kids and you're going to work and you're going to build and you're going to this and you're going to that, but at the end of the day, you're going to come to the angel of death. It's not going to come to you. He's not going to run after you. SubhanAllah, we all know this. You tell a brother, you can go anytime. I know, brother, I know. looking at his watch. Where are you going? Back to his lahu, back to his entertainment, back to his fun, back to his friends, back to his work, whatever it is. But you just said, I know. What's the point of knowing if you don't apply? What's the point of knowing if you don't apply? Like that sheikh that had a whole library of books in his house and he hasn't read them. So every single time a student would come in, one of his students, say, MashaAllah, ya sheikh, is this all your books? You've read them all? And every time he had to be embarrassed and say, nah, I haven't read them, you know. So one day he got sick of this, so he grabbed all his books and he piled them up on the floor. All his bookshelf, his entire library of books, he piled it up on the floor. And he stepped over it. Now every single time a student came in and asked him, have you read over him? He goes, I've passed over him. It's worthless. There's no point. There's no point. So my dear brothers in Islam, that person that says, I know death can come at any moment, but does nothing about it. That person that knows he is going to die at any second, and Allah Azza wa Jal is going to ask him for everything that he knew and didn't apply. What did it benefit him? Other than khizi, disgrace on the Day of Judgment. SubhanAllah, how many stories do we have to hear? How many stories do we have to hear and we know and we still don't apply? SubhanAllah, I remember years ago, that bloke that came to Scaff Mechanics in Bankstown. He rocks up to change his brakes. They lift his car on the hoist, they're changing his brakes. One of the workers in that shop goes to him, you know, SubhanAllah, he had a nice car. You know, made the excuse, I want to go down the road to get some drink. Told his boss. He goes, all right. So he tells that guy that was changing his brakes, he tells him, jump in, I'll take you down the road to get a drink. He just wants to show him his car. He comes out of the driveway, turns right, down the road, and there's the first left. He guns it on that corner, the truck was reversing. The guy got chopped in half. He came to change his brakes. He ended up from there going down to buy a bottle of drink. And the driver, who actually did the wrong, lived having to pay the diya for the man who came to change his brakes and go home. He didn't even want to go home and come back. They don't want to waste time. We know. He knew. Didn't change anything. Omar 15 years old. Birang boys, I think. 15 years old, got chosen to play for England, soccer. Got chosen to play for England, yani the fittest of the fit, the best of the best. Jumped on the field, didn't come off. While he's playing soccer, he died. We know. I know your sheikh. And in a few minutes, everyone will start looking at his time to go back to work. We know. What have we done about it? What have we done about it? SubhanAllah, I remember I heard a story when I was going to uni once, back in 2008. Still till today, I can't forget this story. I was in a taxi, and the driver was talking to one of the passengers, and I was in the back. He's telling the passenger, as we passed a certain street, he goes, you know that corner over there? He goes, yeah. He goes, I used to work on that corner. I used to sell coffee there for 20 years. He goes, what happened? Why'd you change your job? No good? He goes, no, not because of that. He goes, what's your story then? He goes, wallahi, I had a little cart every single morning for 20 years. I'd fill up the what's it called? The bottles, the whatever it is, containers with my coffee, and I'd walk down to that road, to that corner, and sell my coffee every single morning for 20 years. One day I wake up, I prepare my coffee cart, and I go to that corner and I find someone else standing there. He goes, at first we spoke, then we argued, then we swore at each other, then we actually hit each other. We were actually punching on for that spot. And then after a while I thought to myself, you know what? I've been working for 20 years without a day off. He goes, look, I'm having a day off today. He goes, I'm going to leave you today, but if I come back tomorrow and you're here, I'm going to end you. He turns around, he walks 100 meters, and a bomb falls on that guy and kills him right there and then. It was back in 2005, 2006 when Israel hit Lebanon. 20 years he was working there. The day that it wasn't his fault, it wasn't his time. It wasn't his place to die. Allah removed him and brought the person and made the angel of death wait right there and took his life. Imagine the angel of death kicking back, watching this unfold. And look, these blokes are punching on and to die, for the spot to die. Imagine what he's thinking. Imagine the angel of death when he first got there, he's thinking to himself, man, this guy's been coming here for 20 years. How am I going to take someone else's soul here? Just like with Sulaiman. We know the angel of death is waiting for us. We know death is waiting for us for a certain place and at a certain time, in the exact manner Allah Azza wa Jalla has written. But what has changed? Our topic isn't about death, forgive me brothers. My topic is, why do we know yet don't apply? Let me take a step further than that. We're in Ramadan. And I've mentioned a few times, we've heard so much about Ramadan. I myself am sick of hearing about Ramadan. I myself personally am sick of hearing about Ramadan. It's a weird thing to say, but bear with me. But let's take it a step further. Ramadan is the month of what? The shayateen locked up. The shayateen are locked up. And we're still doing haram. We know the shayateen are locked up. We know death can come at any second. We know what's right and wrong. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is trying to give us a chance by locking up the shayateen to get out of our sins, our bad habits, our haram. Yet we're still sinning. Why? What's the cause? What's making us sin? My dear brothers, in Islam the answer is very simple. Allah Azza wa Jalla in Surah Al-Shams wa Duhaha, Surah Al-Shams, the longest oath ever made by Allah, 10 or 11 oaths in a row. What was it about? It was about the reason why we still sin, why we still do haram, why we still don't apply what we know. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا. That's the first oath. وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَنَاهَا وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا. That's 4. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا. Now he's swearing not only by his creation that is great, by himself that created the heavens. So Allah is not only making oaths now by great things, he's making an oath by himself. Yani the greatest is making an oath by the greatest. والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. Here come the reasons of the oath. My dear brothers in Islam, 10 oaths in a row to tell you that verily every single one of you has a nafs, has a desire, has a soul. The successful one is the one who controls it, and the fool, the loser on the Day of Judgment, is the one who corrupts it. My dear brothers in Islam, it all comes down to your nafs. Every single talk you could ever give about any topic, it all comes back to the nafs, to your own self, the me, myself and I, the love of myself, the desire. Even the last few talks that I've been giving about khushu' in the prayer, why can't we have khushu'? Check your nafs. It all comes back to the nafs. Allah Azza wa Jal makes 10 oaths in a row. 10 oaths in a row to show you, to promise one thing, that your nafs is your whole purpose of life. Clean it, purify it, it will face Allah Azza wa Jal and receive its reward. Corrupt it, give it what it wants, let it run wild, Allah Azza wa Jal promises you death and destruction. Our nafs, my dear brothers in Islam, our nafs, that there's whisperings in our hearts, even the shaitan's not here. I feel like this, I want this, I can't stand this. That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Qur'an, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَنْ نَفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. But he who fears his Lord and stops his nafs, controls his nafs from running after its desires, فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. He is the one who will receive paradise. He will be the one whose abode, his home on the Day of Judgment will be Jannah. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to help us control our nafs. My dear brothers in Islam, the Prophet ﷺ, he told us 1400 years ago that every single nation has its fitna, has its trial, its tribulation. And verily the trial and tribulation of my ummah is money, wealth. But it all comes back to the nafs. Why does it get out of control? Because of the nafs. See, today we're not lacking. See, our problem today is not that we lack what we need to live and to prosper. What we lack is the inability to be content with what Allah has given us. We don't lack the ability to live and to prosper and to even make Islam number one in this world. But we're not content, we want more. See, the Prophet ﷺ told us 1400 years ago that wealth is going to destroy you. Elghaz takathur. What's going to stop you from entering Jannah? What's going to stop you, even if you make it to Jannah? What's going to stop you from getting the highest levels? What's going to make you enter paradise 500 years after questioning before the poor, after the poor, sorry. That nafs wanted more. Running after the dollar. Running after the desires. He wants more. But I don't understand, you've got your house, you've got your car, you've got your business, your kids, mashallah, they're working. What are you doing? Sadaqa Rasulullah when he said that verily, if you gave mankind an entire valley of gold, you only wish for another. And nothing will fill his stomach, nothing will make him content until dirt is shoved in his mouth. The grave. When dirt is shoved in his mouth, that's when he says, now I've had enough. That's when he finally stops accelerating towards his nafs and his dunya and his desires, that's when he starts to think, oh my God, what have I done? What am I going to do now? Because Allah Azza wa Jal, even in the Qur'an says it. He says, Alhaakum takathur, until what? Hatta zurtumul maqabir. Until you reach the grave. Until you visit the grave. My dear brothers in Islam, Allah Azza wa Jal, He isn't referring to you visiting someone that's dead. He's saying until you enter the grave. Until you are put in that white kafan with nothing you worked for your entire life except for that white cloth. When you're put under that ground, that's when you're going to realize that what distracted you was your money. But the very next verse, that's the worst part. كَلَّا سَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ. See, to me, that's scarier than Allah Azza wa Jal telling you, I'm going to burn you, I'm going to torture you, I'm going to punish you. What's worse is when you don't know. See, when my dad used to call me and tell me, when you come home, you're grounded for a week. Oh, all right. When you come home, watch what I'm going to do to you. That's when I'd start panicking. When you don't know, what's he going to do? Just the unknown. Allah Azza wa Jal, He tells you, your wealth distracted you from entering Jannah. You knew there was only Jannah or hellfire. So when you know your wealth distracted you from paradise, you know you're going to hell. And you never stopped and took a second to think about it until you entered that grave. Nay, you will come to know. ثُمَّ كَلَّا سَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ. He repeats it twice. And verily again you will come to know. Now you're going to know what the effect, what the result, what the consequence of what? Of running after that wealth. See, we know. That's rubbish. Means nothing if you know and you don't apply. See, the scholars of the past, once they hit 40, mind you, they were the most righteous of people. But once they hit 40, they literally, no exaggeration, they literally used to divorce the world. Literally, he's the world, he's the dunya, he's the desire, he's my nafs. Divorce. They would leave everyone, even their family, go to the mountains and worship Allah Azza wa Jal, because they know what's left of their life is less than what's past. They've already passed halfway. Prophet ﷺ told us 6 to 7 years, they're already 40. They knew what was left was less than what passed. So they just gave everything up and went to try to elevate themselves, went to try to ask forgiveness for the time that they wasted. What are we doing to ourselves? What are we doing to ourselves? Money is dirty. Money is dirty, money is filthy, it's corrupting. When's enough enough? Someone tell me, when's enough enough? When I got 100 grand in the bank? 200, 300? When I've got one house and a second one to rent off so I can live off it? Oh, but then the second one today in today's age, $500 a week, 600 is not enough. So I got to work another 20 years to build the third one so then I can live off that. And then when that happens, there comes along my kids. I can't leave him without anything. He's working for $20 an hour. So I work another 20 years. All of a sudden I'm in my grave, and my kids that I worked for and struggled and strove and everything that I built, other people are punching on over it. My kids have parted ways, Silat al-Rahim is destroyed, and I'm in my grave getting punished for it. SubhanAllah. Didn't a homeless lady just die a few days ago on the news, 7 years? 1.5 million. Disabled homeless lady. They found 1.5 million with her. What did it do for her? Money corrupts. It corrupts the heart. It's a disease. 1.5 million, what did she do with it? Do you know if she benefited herself and went to hellfire, you'll say at least she lost and she won here and she lost there. But lose, what for? Do you know if she helped someone with it? Better than just sitting there, sleeping on it as a couch. SubhanAllah, in Lebanon, they're talking about a lady now, just 2 weeks ago. Kaman, she used to go and beg. Several $1 million they found with her in her car. Someone gave her a car just as a charity so she can sleep in it. They don't even drive. Just so she can sleep in the car. They found all plastic bags filled with money. What did she benefit? What did she get out of it? A physiotherapist that I went to see, my uncle took me to him. This guy walks around with thongs, with ripped clothes. He puts 2,000 Lebanese pounds in $1.50 in his pocket every day, and he goes to his job. The politicians call him to work for them. The politicians call him to work for them. He comes home every day with a check in his hand. Not married, no kids, not even proper clothes, no car. Jumps in a taxi, that's why it takes the 2,000 Lebanese pounds. It doesn't take 1,000 more, huh? It doesn't take 70 cents extra, because if it comes time for coffee and someone tells me shout me out, it can say I don't have. Wallahi, that's the reason. I'm not exaggerating. That's the reason. I sat down and actually got to know him. Over 65, 70 years old. We came to him asking him to do some work for us. Wallah, we're going to pay him. He was trying to push us away because he's scared that, because we know him. My uncle hangs out with him every day, that we might try to get it for free. He comes home every day, rocks up to the shop that my uncle hangs out in, he shows him the check, and he goes up to his house every day for years. After a while they got onto it, they go, what's going on, man? This guy must be a millionaire. What's he doing with himself? Why doesn't he have shoes? Why doesn't he have proper clothes? Why doesn't he have a car? Why isn't he married? So they started to question him, and they started to talk to him. Wallahi, my uncle had conversations with him. I'm telling you, the behemoth, the animal would understand before him. The animal would be moved by his conversation. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, what are you doing with yourself? Like, what have you got 5 years left? 10? Like, you're not even looking going to last another year. Let's say you live to 100. He was 70. 30 years. He goes, calculate. You say you don't have any money. I know for a fact you have at least $1 million. I'm not going to say you have any more than that. Let's just calculate $1 million. If you had $1 million now, if you bought a car and put a driver in that car and got married and had kids, and lived a comfortable life from now for the next 30 years, you couldn't spend that $1 million. Who are you going to give it to? You don't even have a family to give it to. Who do you want to give it to? Your brothers, your sisters, their kids? They don't even see you, they don't even know you. He told him words that would shake a rock. In one ear, out the other ear. By Allah, it got to a state after he spoke to him for so much, he would come and make a mockery out of his words. He'd come home at the end of the night, show him that check, and then say, these are for my brother's kids. It was a mockery. A month before I came here, he died. They found $3 million American dollars in his bank, and almost 3 million American, but in Lebanon. 4 مليون و500 ألف. Almost 3 million, actually 3 million. Another 3 million in Lebanese pounds. No wife, no kids, no clothes, no furniture, no house, no car. What for? You know what happened? Wallahi, his brothers that took his money, his brothers and sisters didn't even bring him home. Straight from the hospital, they took him down to the graveyard, they washed him there and buried him. They didn't even bring him into their house. And now he's in his grave getting questioned for that money that he benefited nothing from, while other people are splitting it up amongst themselves. Do you know these people? I've seen it with my own eyes. These people run after wealth like that. Allah Azza wa Jal usually punishes them, subhanAllah, because al-jaza' min jins al-amal. Al-jaza', the punishment, is from the same, a lot of the times it comes from the same, style as the sin itself. Allah Azza wa Jal, subhanAllah, He punishes them with that money. So it could be through, accidents or health problems or whatever that he has to spend all his money on. Or it could be even after he dies, his family, his money literally breaks them apart. And that's one of, we know if you break away silat al-rahim, if your kids break their family ties, none of their actions, none of their works, none of their ibadah, nothing is accepted until they make up again. It's all pulled on hold. Imagine you're the result, you're the problem, you're the reason that caused them to break up. Because you ran after money and you didn't teach them the deen, you didn't teach them what's right and wrong, you showed them money was everything, money was strength, money was power, money was honor, money was dignity, money was respect. So when they died, they punched on with their own brother for it. SubhanAllah. So my dear brothers, SubhanAllah, I took too long already. My dear brothers in Islam, it's not enough to know. It's not enough to know. Rather, it is going to be a question and a witness against you if you know and you didn't apply. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us of those who hear what is being said and apply it. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us of those who control their nafs. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us of those who overpower our nafs. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us of those who purify our nafs, so that we can face Allah Azza wa Jal and He can call out on the Day of Judgment when everyone is running around scared, panicking. Ya ayyatuha an-nafsul mutma'inna. O you purified and happy soul. Irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah. Come back to your Lord. He is pleased from you and you are pleased from Him. Fadkhuli fi ibadi. Enter into my servants and honored slaves. Wadkhuli jannati. And enter my paradise. Ameen.
Every Muslim dreams to be up in Jannah, 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 Jannah. A pious person's destiny. Inshallah in Jannah, 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 Jannah.